Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and I'm joined once again by Mark Gonzales over at First National Bullion. And this is a big one, my friends, because we're seeing something historic happen in the silver market, and we've seen it before. Silver nears 2011 highs as physical market fractures, says this Zero Hedge article. At the same time as we're seeing gold move, which many have pointed out, we haven't seen it move like this since 1929. There's a lot of stuff happening as far as a massive deficit, lots of spending, inflation still affecting things worldwide. This recent BRICS conference, which has basically ensured that BRICS will be outperforming the G7. And simultaneously, China is saying that they may shift away from U.S. treasuries towards crypto and gold, according to a BlackRock executive. And finally, central banks are increasingly buying gold from local mines as prices surge. This is something that I find very, very important going forward as far as wealth insurance and why it's so important to look at gold and silver as not an investment, but a way to keep your money safe from the incoming inflation and the problems with the reserve currency, the dollar, going forward. So we're going to go into this with Mark right away, because I think it's incredibly important for you guys to understand the details and the importance of where this goes next. But before we do, I urge you to check that link in the description, firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ it has to be that exact link. It is in the description below, and there you could avoid the CBDCs to come, avoid these conflicts within the economy to come. You could buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. You could hold that gold or silver in your hand, put it in a vault, put it in an IRA outside of that traditional IRA system, and schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzales and a complimentary investors package. Just let him know in the comments of the forum that you found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM. And I think that you will be very happy with the results of this, because going forward, we're going to go into this right now, Mark. I mean, we are seeing something that we haven't seen for a very long time. But if you look throughout history, history doesn't always repeat, but it certainly rhymes, as Mark Twain once said. And I think that we're seeing evidence of this in the face of crisis, which it's impossible to avoid across the board. When you turn on the television, when you look online, there's crisis everywhere. So crisis aversion, very important. Go into what these historical markers really tell you.
Well, yeah, past performance doesn't dictate future results by any means, but it does rhyme very, very similarly. And when you're looking at the silver market, one thing I want to bring to mention here is a few other videos that we did. We talked about silver. We were talking about that breakout point of $35, and guess what? We were right. So it broke 35. It's not moving as fast as I thought it would, but the strength behind this, the volume behind this, and the amount of metal actually leaving the COMEX for physical delivery, tightening up the market even further, is further proof that it's going to go. The next marker is going to be around 40, 42. One thing that I noticed when we did break that 35 marker is that shortly after, whenever you have a breakout, you usually go back and test that resistance. And that happened. We went back to touch about 35.08, 35.15 was kind of the low on the day. And it resembled to me exactly what I saw back in December. I believe it was November or December of 2010. And silver's breakout point was 15, and it went and crossed 15 at about 14.98 one day. And then it moved $35 in about 7 months, or actually about 5 to 6 months. In April of 2011 is when you hit a high of 50. So I think we're facing something similar here. Yeah. So I always tell everybody that gold and silver, it's money. It's not the accounting measure. It's you want actual money, because it's the marker of value that adjusts and discharges and cleans up all the balance sheets with bankruptcies. And that's something the U.S. is going to be going to. But for anybody out there that maybe doesn't hold that view or wants to look at this at an aspect of maybe an investment, I don't think there's a better investment play that you could possibly make right now. I mean, everything is solid about silver. You have extremely tight supplies. You got spreads between London and New York that are absolutely off the charts, which scream shortage. And then something that we haven't discussed, and you may already know because other people have talked about it, but silver has been forming for the last 50 plus years from 1980, a cup and handle formation. Now, cup and handle formation, it's a high, a low, and then you do and get the handle. So the high from 50 back up to 50, back down to roughly about $11 up to where we are now. We're finishing that handle formation. Right. So silver continues to move and breaks out of the $42 range, we're going to be damn near completion on that pattern. And that is one of the most trustworthy patterns that you can find in trading. Now, I know markets are pretty much fictitious for the most part because they're highly manipulated, and there's just way too much liquidity and credit distorting them on what they need. But a lot of traders still follow these technical bias, and especially when you have high frequency AI trading, they're going to see what I'm seeing, what other people are seeing, and when this formation completes, sky's the limit on where it's going to go. Because keep in mind, gold broke above its all-time high, and now look at where we're sitting. And gold had a similar cup and handle going back many decades that it completed about 10 months to a year ago, and now gold's up about 50-60% off that breakout point. So something similar is going to happen to silver. So regardless if you are on the side of us that you feel that the dollar is going to collapse, we're going to go into this revalue, which there is more than enough evidence by those that actually run the world in the finance that are telling us is going to happen. Look at this from an investment standpoint, right? You have a shortage of an actual commodity that worldwide people are gathering hand over fist. And now you have countries like India and China that are stockpiling silver as well. So it's not just gold that they're going after. This all comes together. You could get an explosive move above 50, and you could see the sky's the limit. It could go to $100 in no time. I'm not saying that it actually will, but I think the higher prices of silver are in front of us, and anybody looking to make, double to maybe 2.5, 3 times on their money, now's the time to get involved.
Yeah, and not investment advice for legal reasons. I want to point that out, but I do want to point out also that even regardless of all of that, we are looking at the dollar losing its value regularly. We can talk all day about how there's these temporary fixes to inflation that work for a few months or year at a time. That's something that is intrinsically Keynesian, by the way, which is what led to this problem in the first place. We will have a lot of spending going forward, a lot of inflation in the future, but first, of course, they try to put these temporary fixes on things. And of course, once that money gets into the hands of the public and into the consumer's hands, we see inflation explode. And in the face of that, we also know that there is a massive power shift between the West and the East right now, between the G7 countries and generally what we would call the BRICS plus countries now, though the BRICS plus countries involve several countries from the West now as well. And of course, I think that this is going to eventually take place under the guise of war and economic instability. There's going to be a shift towards this. And that shift is also going to include CBDCs and digital IDs. Check out my recent video on this where I go over not all of them, because I'd have to go into 197 countries here, but most of the major examples of that shift into CBDCs and digital IDs. This is coming. And simultaneously, you have these historical events that are, when you look at silver and gold, we've seen this before. We've seen these moves before. And in the face of crisis, of course, it's been something that's been a safe haven for people as a wealth insurance. Now, I also want to point out, Mark, we always get the comments by people going, just another guy trying to shill gold and silver. Meanwhile, these are the same people that seem to be insinuating everyone should just sit on their hands and hold dollars in the banks. And I mean, nothing sounds more like shilling to me than shilling for banks. That's one of the grossest things you could possibly do. Yeah, keep all your money in the bank, sit on your hands, wait to see what happens in the face of something we've seen happen 1,000 times throughout history around the world. Mark, what do you say to the people that laugh off at this point, people talking about gold and silver? They'll say, oh, well, we've heard this before. Oh, you're talking about gold and silver again? We've been hearing people talk about gold and silver forever. Since silver was $1. Of course, we've heard people talking about it for a long time. People don't listen as their dollar devalues 99% and silver goes up 40 times. We're supposed to be told oh, well, we've heard this before. What do you say to people that go in that direction and try to dissuade people from getting into the gold and silver market?
Keep laughing. Do it. Facts are facts, right? Gold, silver is its money. And to say, why are we still talking about it? Well, it's been money for thousands of years. It's been the benchmark backing of all accounting. And it should be talked about. People should know that there's options or on true store of value as opposed to the dollar system. And with what's coming in a digital structure, you can keep laughing. You can poke fun at us. You can say these guys are fear mongering. But the fact remains is all that we do is just simply state the facts of what is in fact going on.
And give actual solutions too. We're not just saying, oh, everything's bad. Okay, bye. No, we're saying, hey, these things are bad. They're concerning. Here are the problems. Here's what's leading to it. Here's where they will go. And here are solutions, which is a lot more than I think most people are doing.
Right. And to take it one step further, anybody that's laughing in our face and is not buying precious metals, the fact remains is you get insurance on your house, you get insurance on your car, you get insurance on your health, you get insurance on your boat. Why wouldn't you have insurance on your wealth with the only insurance plan that is able to be offered or bought with zero counterparty risk? Everybody else in even the dollar market, dollars created from debt, there is always a counterparty structure to every investment or every instrument under the sun. Silver in your possession, gold in your possession, platinum, palladium, it's the only asset of value without zero counterparty risk. So meaning that when the world implodes and we have a margin event and we go to this digital system and the U.S. goes through its third bankruptcy, the only thing that's not going to be affected and will actually prosper from that, taking you through the turbulent time, but actually give you something that you're able to grow with, is going to be precious metals. It's always been the case. So at some point, if you don't have some of it in your portfolio, then the joke's on you. It's not going to be on us. As far as the timing of all this happens, the only thing that we can do is convey what the information that we're given. Gustin Carson said we're going to be on digital system with no cash in 2025. Again, I don't think we're going to be cashless, but I do think we're going to get the implementation of the digital currency, thus the Genius Act, and EU stating what they're going to be doing. So everything's kind of coming together. And at some point, unfortunately, anybody that is against gold and silver or just not open to understanding its true function as money, they're going to have a very, very hard time getting metal. As let me remind you that when more buyers exceed the actual physical metal, forget the paper, forget the derivatives, forget the synthetics, the name of fake is actually in their name. They're going to rush to the market and they're going to try to get it. And you're going to have too many people bidding up this price. So not only is the price going to go up higher, but there's a spread in metal above the spot price, which is the manufacturing and dealer charge, where everybody's making money from dirt all the way up to the coin or the bar for you. Now, when you have to bribe it out of someone's tight hands, your spread can go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100% versus that spot price and call it a normal day. And you'd be amazed that just before lockdowns, we saw something silver where the spread on silver rose to nearly 100% of what the spot price was. And there was a line out the door at all stores that we had. So people want to sit on their hands and they want to be complacent when they have the illusion of time and everything feels comfortable. But it unfortunately, we're emotional creatures. So it takes something catastrophic or something to kick us in the ass to get us off the couch to actually go and do something. And people were buying it with that spread. Now they ended up winning because silver was trading at $12. The spread was around 22. So they're still winning because now we're at 38, 39. So it worked out for them, but they could have bought it, just a week earlier at $14, $15. Do yourself a service and actually make it easier for yourself to put some of your hard-earned wealth into this, especially if you're uncertain on the economy. And now with Trump saying that he's going to increase tariffs, and he announced that over the weekend, that just means more inflation. That means more pressure. I don't think we have enough time on the current financial structure to go through the rebuilding of the decades it's going to take to make America great on a manufacturing basis. We just simply don't have it. It's not in the cards. We're being told digital currency, new currency structure, new financial structure, like now.
Yeah, and that's all been manufactured. I mean, they've put us in a situation where the United States basically gave China the monopoly back in the 1970s when Kissinger met with Mao Zedong, and then they created the Trilateral Commission to prop them up as a monopoly power for technocracy and a guinea pig state worldwide back in the 1970s under Jimmy Carter with the Rockefellers and Zbigniew Brzezinski. So this has been happening for a long time. There has always been that shift. This was all manufactured, and of course, doing all these tariffs now are not going to undo what has been created by design for all these years. And if anything, it's in the face of a weak economy, it's going to crater everything that much more. And again, there is, of course, their solution. And then there's the solution we're trying to bring you. Their solution is what they're already unrolling across the board: digital IDs, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. We're seeing a cashless system be pushed forward everywhere. Whether you're talking about China or Taiwan, Russia or Ukraine, the United States, Europe, Mexico, Canada, across the board, everyone's going cashless right now, and they're bringing forward, mandated in many cases, digital IDs and ID wallets, which are connected to your behavior on social media, your behavior as far as what you spend money on. You do not want to be in a situation where all your money's in the bank, and they don't let you access your money because you have been naughty. You said something negative about the government one time, and with the United Nations Pact for the Future, which was signed by 193 countries back in September, they've already basically said in that, which of course the US and many other countries were obviously one of the 193 countries that signed on to it, that you can't access your bank account if you say negative things about the government or push the wrong narrative online. Or, of course, that could lead to you having carbon credits and social credit scores attached to digital IDs with food rations. All of that is dependent on you having all your money in the bank. So do you want all your money in your bank? Do you want it under your mattress as it devalues? Or do you want something that actually helps you get in a put in a place where you can actually transform your ability to survive what is to come? What is the great reset, the complete dependence of humanity? So don't be dependent. As Mark was mentioning, people will be lining up for gold and silver, and eventually it'll get to a time where you won't be able to easily get it, and the scarcity will lead to a higher value, by the way. But if there's scarcity and you can't access it, that's a big problem for you. There's already shortages across the board, so this is why we have this option on the table for everyone watching right now, which is that link in the description. This isn't about shilling. This is about getting you guys involved in something that can actually save you, and work with someone who is awake about this stuff and not just your average suit and tie at your local bank. I urge people to go and check out firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/. It has to be that exact link. And there you could buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. You could hold that gold in your hands, put it in a vault, put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system. Schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzales and a complimentary investors package. Let him know in the forum in the comment section that you found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM. And by the way, look how easy this form is to fill out. Name, email, phone number, comments. Pretty damn easy. Keep your eye on your junk folder in case you might miss a response from him, or keep an eye on your phone. But nonetheless, make sure to check this out, get involved, and try to protect yourself while you still can, so you are on the outside looking in rather than on the inside looking out. Any final words, Mark, as we close this off?
Not much, man. I just appreciate you having me on, and I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. I start, paying attention to what's going on with that silver price. If you need some help, get involved or navigate, or want a deeper conversation on what it all means and how it all works, then feel free, reach out. I'll take the time.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to doing much more with you here, Mark. We got a lot more coming up because there's no shortage of things to talk about. Obviously, we've all seen the television recently. We've all seen what's happening online, and we want to make sure that all of you guys are prepared with solutions. That is our modus operandi, I guess you could say, is make sure that you guys have actual solutions. So it's not just anger and sadness and fear and uncertainty and all that kind of stuff, as they call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Instead, there are actual solutions in front of you for the problems that we are facing on the global stage right now. So I appreciate everyone watching. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and Mark Gonzales signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.